A reality that defies understanding usually triggers denial, and we see the Demon King screaming in agony. He simply refused to see what was happening while the hero defeated him right there in his throne room. In that moment, the man is forced to face the harsh truth of his humiliating and painful defeat. His proud black flames couldn't even scratch the hero's, and he's left wondering why. The guy questions how the hero's blade pierced his scales and buried itself in his chest. The Demon King simply couldn't wrap his head around how this could have happened to him. In his memories, he was superior to everyone and graduated as the top student at the Demon King Academy. He studied the book called The Demon King Standard inside out and followed it religiously. Just as the standard dictated, the man built a tower and also kidnapped a few princesses. After that, he nurtured the heroes who came to save them, letting them get stronger and stronger. For a Demon King, rage and sorrow are the ultimate banquet, and taking them out early would be a waste. The standard taught that fattening them up before devouring them makes the meal much more delicious. He followed the standard more faithfully than anyone, and world domination was just a matter of time. With that, he absorbed the sorrow and rage of countless beings, including the heroes themselves. Thus, he became a Demon King, stronger than any other that had ever existed in the world. But then he wonders why he is the one lying on the floor, defeated and totally humiliated. The Demon King doesn't understand how this happened, and the hero calls him trash, saying they are all the same. The hero mocks him, saying demons set everything up but are always shocked by the final result. With a lot of anger, the Demon King questions what kind of nonsense the hero is spouting at that moment. Then the warrior explains that they always kidnap the most famous music princess to send a signal. The hero calls the Demon King stupid and says if it were him, he would have finished off the king to throw the kingdom into chaos. With this, the Demon King realizes that if the human king were kidnapped, humans would fight among themselves and their rage wouldn't be focused on him. But that would violate the teachings of the standard and prevent him from growing as a true Demon King. The hero continues mocking him and thanks the Demon King for sending monsters music to help them train when they aren't heading to the tower. The warrior also comments that when they finally arrive at the tower, things get even better for them. He explains that the first floor is always full of weak creatures, which is music, perfect for leveling up according to their skills. The Demon King thinks he couldn't let the hero perish along the way because he needed to harvest more energy. He did all of this just because it was what the standard taught, and he always followed the book to the letter. Next, music. We see the moment again when the hero charges with full force toward the Demon King. The Demon King's face shows all his shock and rage as he realizes the truth behind everything. The hero reveals that when the tower becomes outdated, they simply eliminate the Demon King so a new one can pop up. He goes on to say that it is basically a hunting ground made for heroes and asks if his friends agree. The other heroes agree and thank the Demon King for helping them level up, even calling him their sponsor. They continue the mockery, thanking him for the great training spot and saying the tower had some pretty good loot fallen on the ground. The Demon King can't believe what he hears and wonders if his tower music was just a gym for them. The hero admits the Demon King was strong and many heroes passed away, but that only made him more famous. Then the warrior says goodbye to the Demon King and prepares to deliver the final strike with his sword. The Demon King gets furious, thinking a mere hero shouldn't dare humiliate him like that. As his life slips away, he asks himself what the Demon King's standard was good for. After all, he refuses to check out in vain, and with his last strength, tries to say who he really is before disappearing. In a final scream of fury, he declares he is the Demon King while releasing all his remaining energy. His vision starts to go dark and his energy dissipates rapidly as he is completely defeated. The man looks up with a mix of pain and hatred on his face, accepting his bitter fate. From his point of view, he sees the hero standing there without showing any concern for him. His consciousness begins to fade, and his vision turns to the ceiling of the throne room. At that moment, the floor of the place was completely covered with the aftermath of the intense battle that took place there. With his last strength, the Demon King curses the heroes, saying they will pay the price for everything. In his eye, we see the reflection of the hero as he swears revenge for them insulting him like that. The victorious warrior observes his fallen enemy, while the Demon King swears he will make them pay. Suddenly, one of the heroes approaches and says not to touch the head because the horns are his. However, when he tries to grab the horns, a strange purple energy starts pouring out of the Demon King's body. The Demon King sacrifices his last drop of life to offer one final desperate attack against them. The hero gets spooked and wonders if that is what music. He thinks it is, but it was already too late. With that, a massive explosion of purple energy completely consumes the Demon King's body. The warrior who tried to grab the horns is caught full force by the explosion and screams in pure agony. The energy expands through the entire throne room and hits all the heroes who were present there. Music. The Demon King's curse transforms all the heroes into flaming skeletons in a music instant. In his final moments, he realizes the standard was wrong and was used to deceive them. His consciousness dissipates while he bitterly regrets having followed that book the entire time. He wishes for one more chance to get revenge and do something about that cursed thing. His last curse echoes as the purple energy explodes over the tower, and he wishes for the orcs to devour the standard. Suddenly, he wakes music, up startled hearing someone calling the name Bird D's really loudly. The MC finds himself in a younger body and in a familiar place but can't understand the situation. He is in the middle of a crowd and questions what the heck is happening right now. With his face sweating cold and his heart racing, the guy realizes that somehow he is alive. Then a voice calls him by the name Bird does and asks him to hurry up and get on stage immediately. While walking toward the stage, he still tries to process that whole bizarre and unexpected situation. The young man realizes it can't be and wonders if this is really what he thinks it is. The academy dean asks Spurs does what a genius like him is doing being so distracted on graduation day. He receives the red badge which is given to everyone who completes the Demon King Academy. With that, the penny finally drops and Burrs starts to understand what really happened to him. He realizes he went back 15 years in time to the day of his graduation ceremony from the academy. Burrs doesn't know why he returned to the past, but he understands that this is a huge opportunity for him. Next, the class valedictorian Burrs is called as the representative to read the oath of the new Demon Kings. In front of everyone, he faces the projection of the Demon King's standard and its 6 main rules. Burr stares at the Demon King standard with a serious look full of contempt for the first time. He remembers how he memorized every syllable of those principles to which he dedicated his entire life. He recalls that it was that same garbage that led him to his end and turned him into a toy for the heroes. Looking at the other graduates, he wonders with disgust if he really needs to read that again. And the worst part is that he would have to swear to follow those rules for the rest of his life in front of everyone. We see the teachers and the den smiling with plenty of pride at their best student. But inside, Burrs grinds music, his teeth in anger, remembering the humiliation he went through. Then the announcer calls his name and asks him to recite the great Demon King standard. With a smile of pure hatred on his face, the guy prepares to give his answer. To the shock of everyone present at the venue, the MC simply refuses to obey. His classmates are completely confused by that unexpected attitude of his. He screams that he can't make such a stupid oath because following the standard is the most idiotic thing to do. With hatred in his eyes, the guy prepares to say what the standard really is. Then he shouts for everyone to hear that the Demon King's standard is nothing more than complete trash. The MC's declaration leaves all his classmates completely shocked. One of the professors is so shocked by what he hears that his glasses break on their own. The academy dean also becomes completely furious and shocked by the guy's audacity. Burrs' shout echoes through the great academy hall in that tense music moment. It was at that moment that the academy's greatest orator became the century's biggest lunatic. A powerful and imposing figure slams his hand down hard, demonstrating his immense fury. Archduke Arcane Blareth says Burrs could be executed for insulting the Demon King's standard. However, the Archduke decides to give the guy one last chance music to redeem himself for his mistake. He demands that Burrs take back what he said and apologize or his post will be. In a place called Arian, the crowd whispers that Aaron is the dimension where demon kings go to expire. Basically, a death sentence. They wonder why give another chance to a criminal since an apology isn't enough. The Archduke reminds him that Arian is the worst domain where countless demon kings have already lost their lives. But to everyone's surprise, Burr looks the man in the eye and says firmly to send him there. He declares he will go to Arian to prove that the demon king's standards are nothing but a pile of garbage. With that, the Archduke calls him a lost cause and banishes him to Aaron through a magic circle. Furthermore, he won't receive any privileges and no demon will accompany him on his journey. Burrs is then thrown out of the demon realm and forbidden to return until he completes his mission. As he falls, he thinks he already expected this after all the mess he caused. The guy is being sent back to Aaron, the place where the heroes who defeated him are. He remembers that. Before regressing, he chose Arian himself because he thought the strongest should go there. That arrogance cost him his life as many heroes were exploiting the Demon King's standards. A huge explosion happens on top of a snow-covered mountain. At that moment, Burr lands with his demon wings in the Urgest Mountains on the northern continent. He swears he won't let that happen twice, and that now he will exploit the system. With a look full of determination, the guy declares he will exploit the heroes' standards. Elsewhere, a man with long hair and an elegant appearance is shaving calmly. Next, he buttons up his dress shirt, getting ready for some special occasion. We find out this is Gordon Derrick, the top graduate of that year's Demon Academy. He thinks that while the Demon King Academy trains demon kings to rule, the Demon Academy trains the demons who will serve them. And everyone congratulates him for being able to serve Burrs. With a smile, Gordon says that all demon kings who come out of there are great people. With a sinister smile, Gordon adds that none of them are as great as Lord Burrs. He thinks Burrs is a prodigy of the demonic dragon lineage and graduating with him is a blessing. With Lord Burrs by his side, Gordon believes they could conquer any dimension they wanted. He is confident that he will also be recorded in the glorious pages of the demon realm's history. But suddenly, Burrs' voice echoes in the hall, saying that everything Gordon thought is wrong. Gordon and the other students are shocked and confused by the guy's unexpected statement. The MC screams that the Demon King's standards are trash, leaving everyone even more astonished. Gordon is so shocked by what he hears that his glasses break and he panics. Back in the present, Gordon appears in the deep region of the Urgest Mountains on the northern continent. Even with the order that no demon would accompany him, Music Gordon is there to serve his king. The guy with glasses wonders why Bursat is there since they said no demon would accompany him. He turns around and sees the MC approaching him with a calm and determined expression. Burrs greets him and extends a hand to him in a friendly and surprisingly chill manner. Gordon asks why he did that, and Burrs plays dumb, asking what he is talking about. The glasses guy freaks out and says he insulted the standards, and now he will also perish in Arian. Burrs asks him to calm down, so he doesn't pull his hair out, but Gordon screams that hair isn't the problem. The MC wonders if Gordon was always like this because before he was confident and composed. The glasses guy pulls himself together and says that although it's difficult, they will succeed together and he is motivated. Burrs understands the change in behavior because the situation is music, different, and thinks about telling him about his regression. However, he gives up on the idea because Gordon would probably think he went insane. We see Gordon catching his breath in the snow after all the confusion and stress he went through. Music he then apologizes for his attitude and says he will fulfill his duty, and the MC just agrees. The first rule of the standard says a demon king must build a tower in an accessible place. With that, Gordon warns that the place is dangerous and surrounded by mountains, which makes it difficult for humans to pass. But the MC completely ignores the warning and says firmly that he will build the tower right there. He then plants a tower seed in the snow, which needs Demon King blood to grow. The glasses guy screams that he is going against the standards and throwing away his demon music, King Pride. The MC understands his companion's disgust because it is hard for a demon to deny such a deeply rooted faith. He reflects that one can only reject this after a drastic experience like passing away, which is what happened to him. With this in mind, the guy squeezes his hand hard, making blood run down his fingers. Then he tells Gordon that the standards are trash, especially in Aaron, and drips his blood onto the seed. The demon with glasses is totally shocked and confused by his king's words and attitude. The energy from the MC's blood begins to spread through the snowy mountains around them. The tower seed shines intensely with a powerful red energy upon receiving the blood. Immediately after, the seed begins to germinate and grow rapidly out of the snowy ground. A wave of red energy expands while Burrs begins to explain the reason for his actions. He reveals that Aryan is infested with heroes and that there are many of them. Everywhere in that place, memories of the heroes who defeated him in his past life come to his mind at that moment. The tower system identifies the user as Burr does of the Black Flame Demonic Dragon Music Tribe. With the identification complete, the tower is finally summoned and begins to emerge from the snowy ground. Burrs explains that demon kings perished there because humans discovered a mechanism and used the standards against them. In this land, the standards don't work and should be called the heroes' standards, which leaves Gordon confused. Before them, an imposing and gloomy tower rises amidst the landscape of snow and mountains. Gordon looks up shocked to realize that his king really summoned the tower in that forbidden place. The MC then walks toward the tower entrance and calls his companion to enter. They enter the first floor of Burr's tower and find a huge and completely empty hall. Gordon comments that there is nothing there, and Burr says this is a suitable tower for a king without privileges. They reach the Demon King's chamber on the 5th floor and realize that all the floors are empty. The demon with glasses says that since the tower is built, music, they should at least follow the second rule. The second rule of the standards says the Demon King must kidnap a high-born prince or princess. Gordon then asks for permission to advise his king music, and the MC allows him to proceed. He suggests kidnapping the Princess of Corzin to absorb the kingdom's rage and grow quickly. Gordon already expected a refusal, but Burr surprisingly agrees, with the plan leaving him shocked. The MC says he already has a princess in mind and orders Gordon to guard the tower while he goes. With that, the glasses demon is relieved and thinks his king was just stressed about graduation. Then Gordon asks who Burrs is planning to bring to the tower while watching him at the door. The guy turns around with a serious look and prepares to reveal his true and bold plan. He is going to the most distant nation on the continent, the kingdom of Hildren. To his servant. Surprised, the scene changes to the balcony of a luxurious and lit room during a peaceful starry night. Suddenly, Burrs appears flying outside the window of a beautiful princess with blonde hair. He reveals that among all the princesses, music, his target is the 13th, the one with the smallest presence. With a serious look, the guy tells the princess music that he came to take her with him tonight. The princess stares at him with a calm and curious expression without showing a shred of fear. With a soft and innocent voice, the young woman asks who he is and what he is doing there. Burrs introduces himself as the Demon King who came to kidnap her, making the situation very clear. Unexpectedly, the princess smiles and asks a question that leaves the MC confused. She asks if he is sure he can handle her, leaving the guy not understanding a thing. He finds the question strange and wonders if she is messing with him since he is a Demon King. Then the princess extends her hands to him and says she will let him take her, which leaves him shocked. Burrs finds her calmness strange and asks what she is plotting, music, but the young woman says she expected this. The MC warns her not to try to trick him because he, music, is desperate and won't fall for tricks. The princess denies plotting anything and says as there would be no way to set a trap without knowing he would come. Burrs admits she has a good point but still feels discomfort with that whole situation. The young woman then extends her hand to him and asks if they can go, leaving the guy even more suspicious. Back at Burr's tower, we see him flying with the princess toward his snow fortress. Gordon welcomes him at the tower entrance and is relieved to see his king returned safely. Burr orders the princess to be left on the fourth floor and not in the prison, which surprises his companion. The glasses guy understands his king's decision since the princess music didn't offer any resistance. Gordon says he has something important to tell Burrs, and the MC gets curious to know what it is. On the fourth floor, the princess is left alone in a cold and empty hall. She thinks the place has nothing like pillows, blankets, or maids like in her old room. The young woman also misses the beautiful garden's music and realizes the place is nothing like her kingdom, but with a mischievous smile on her face. Music. The princess thinks that despite everything, this isn't so bad. Back in the throne room, Burrs is informed about an invitation from the Beast Tower and gets intrigued. Gordon confirms it is a welcome party for the new Demon King, but Burrs gets suspicious. Demon Kings are proud, but in Aryan, they work together because of an unprecedented factor. Burrs ignored them before because he thought they were weak, but now decides to interact a little with them. Music. The scene changes to the Beast Tower, an ancient and imposing structure in the middle of a forest. Inside, Draxon, music, the Beast Demon King, presents himself on his throne with a piece of meat in his mouth. He asks if Burrs is the new Demon King, music, and says he heard he mocked. Tradition. The MC asks if he is there to fight and tells him to just say what he wants. The giant beast laughs and says Archduke Arcane asked him to take care of Burrs when he arrived. Burrs calls him a noisy old vampire and thinks sending him to Aaron wasn't enough. Draxon gets furious with the guy's audacity and says he has a lot of guts to talk like that. The Beast Demon King throws the piece of meat on the floor with enough force to intimidate music, the guy. He then orders Burrs to lick the piece of meat and says he will forgive his impudence if he does it. The MC asks if Draxon doesn't know why he is there and says it's because he mocked the orthodoxy. With a mocking smile, Burrs reveals that according to orthodoxy, Demon Kings cannot fight each other. However, the guy completely ignores the rule and lands a powerful kick on the Beast King's chin. The blow knocks the giant creature far away, and the sound of the impact echoes through the place. With a cold and determined look, Burrs asks if Draxon really thought he would follow that rule. The giant creature feels the guy's powerful aura and wonders where all that energy comes from. Draxon retreats and says Arcane asked to see if he kidnapped a princess and threatens him. Burrs interrupts him and reveals he already kidnapped a princess, leaving the creature completely shocked. He then turns to leave and says the princess he kidnapped is to his music, taste, and liking. The scene changes back to Burr's tower in the Snow Mountains where everything seems calm. Gordon congratulates him for showing the majesty of a Demon King, and Burr says it was nothing. The MC orders Gordon to check the princess's condition and says he needs to learn how to use her. The window of the princess's room closes on its own with a dry and creepy sound. At that moment, Burr sits on his throne and thinks that if the other Demon Kings act like Draxon, things will get difficult. He realizes the consequences of mocking the orthodoxy are greater than he expected, but even with another chance, he would make the same choice because he prefers to die than bow to trash. The guy decides to rebuild his foundation from scratch and not repeat the same mistakes of his past life. Music. He checks his energy points and is shocked to see he has more than 13,000 points. The MC wonders why he has so many points since he expected way less than that. Suddenly, Music. He receives a video recording from the Beast Tower and gets curious to know what it is. Draxon congratulates him and says that despite the bad first meeting, he wants to give him something as a veteran. The Beast King says that what he achieved in Aryan wasn't easy and is impressed with him. Burrs realizes something is wrong with the message and with Draxon's suspicious attitude. Suddenly, Gordon runs in and says they have a very big problem on the fourth floor. The fourth music floor of the tower, which was previously empty, is now covered by lush vegetation and butterflies. Colorful flowers sprout from the ground and butterflies fly freely, creating a magical and unexpected scenery. Burrs is completely shocked and speechless seeing the drastic transformation of the fourth floor. The system reports that the fourth floor of the tower is in the process of naturalization, which leaves him confused. The princess greets him, and he realizes she created an entire ecosystem inside the magic tower. The MC thinks only someone who masters the four elements could do something like that. He realizes that only one person on the continent is capable of this and that she is not the 13th princess. The young woman confirms his suspicions and says that, as expected, he confused her with her sister Elena. With his face sweating cold and heart racing, the guy starts to understand her true identity. She introduces herself as Ernan Hildren, the music, first princess of the kingdom of Hildren, leaving him shocked. The news of the first princess's kidnapping spreads quickly through the kingdom of Hildren. The king is furious and orders the strongest heroes and the entire army to be gathered to rescue her. He swears he will end the foolish demon king and bring his precious princess back home. With a mischievous music smile, Ernan explains that was why she asked if he could handle her. Burrs wonders how he didn't detect her mana since he heard about a genius elemental mage. The princess reveals she can hide her mana with a ring that is a royal family heirloom. She asks if he wants to send her back, and the MC finds himself in a complicated situation. He thinks he will be ridiculed if he sends her back, which would make collecting demonic energy difficult. With that in mind, Burrs decides he needs to see that plan through, whatever the cost. Suddenly, the system detects a wave of rage-directed music at him, and his points go up to more than 19,000. Burr says nothing changes and that she is still his hostage, leaving the princess surprised and thoughtful. The scene changes to the kingdom of Hildren, where chaos and fury have taken over the entire palace. The king orders them to finish off the foolish demon king and bring music, his precious princess, back home. A counselor tries to calm the king, saying they still don't know which demon king did that. The king gets even more furious and screams that the princess was kidnapped and they are doing nothing. Suddenly, a man enters and says something is strange about the first princess's kidnapping. He reveals that the demon king of lust was recently defeated for kidnapping a prince. Counselors are shocked and thoughtful about the revelation and the strange coincidence of facts. The king squeezes the arm of his throne with enough force to demonstrate music, all his rage and frustration. With a look full of hatred, he deduces it must be a new demon king who appeared in Aryan. A soldier reports that they found traces of teleportation magic heading north. The music king is surprised and furious to learn that the destination of the magic is the Urgist Mountains. Music Burr's tower rises imposingly in the middle of the snowy mountains, awaiting the arrival of the heroes. Gordon warns that the Hilderin army will arrive shortly and asks if he can handle everything. With a confident smile and a cunning look, the MC prepares to reveal his plan. He says it's fine, and that the kingdom of Hilderin won't be able to reach the tower. Music the guy explains that the tower is in the extreme north and the kingdom in the extreme south of the continent. Burrs continues saying that the nations on the way won't open passage for their army. Then they will be forced to hire a heroes' music guild to rescue the princess. Without another option, the king of Hilderin orders contact with the heroes' guild. In the heroes' guild, music, everyone talks about the princess's kidnapping and wonders who would do that. They refuse to go to Urgist music because the place is full of monsters and they don't want to risk their lives. Burrs explains that the guild won't budge because they only care about money and don't want to take risks. Gordon is surprised and thinks his king considered everything and doesn't follow the rules like the others. He feels that Burrs knows Aryan very well as if he had been there before, which intrigues him. The king of Hildren is furious to learn that no hero wants to accept the job and curses them out. A counselor explains that the heroes in Aryan care more about profits than honor. Burrs knows it will take time to form a group music, and even more time for them to reach the tower. He checks his points but realizes the energy he has isn't enough to handle an army of heroes. The MC remembers the fear he felt facing the heroes in his past life and knows how strong they are. With a plan in mind, he orders Gordon to contact Draxon Music and says he will sell demonic energy. The demon with glasses is shocked and screams in despair hearing his king's absurd idea. He explains that demonic energy is the currency of dreams and allows one to transcend species limits. Burrs knows he can't stop the heroes with the energy he has, but with human money, he can do something. The scene changes to the fortress city of Holton Work near the Urgest Mountains where life goes on as normal. Burrs arrives in the city in disguise and his music, approached by two guards who question him about his identity. He introduces himself as a mercenary, but the guards get suspicious because he is heading to the mountains alone. The MC tosses a gold coin to the guards as a bribe and convinces them to let him pass. With passage cleared, the guy enters the city and thinks he needs to find a guide to help him. He walks through the busy streets of the city in search of a guide for his secret plans. At the Mercenary Guild headquarters, a man complains that the place is good and he doesn't want to leave. He says the soldiers take care of the monsters and they just grab the battle loot. One of his companions asks if he hasn't heard about the new Demon King in the mountains. Another mercenary says he kidnapped the Princess of Hilderin, but the captain doesn't believe it. A third man reveals that the Heroes Guild refused the job after knowing the destination. The captain thinks it's a trick to get more money because the princess is a precious heiress. The other mercenaries agree and laugh at the greed of the guild heroes at that moment. Suddenly, Burrs appears behind the captain and says he understood the situation, startling the man. The captain falls to the floor in fright and asks who he is, while everyone looks at the stranger. With a sinister smile, Burrs says they seem well-informed and perfect to be his guides. The mercenaries get annoyed and attack him, saying he won't leave there alive no matter what. The MC dodges the attacks easily and defeats them one by one with powerful punches. He continues to fight with impressive speed and strength, leaving everyone shocked. A giant man tries to attack him with a club, but Burrs stops the blow with just one hand. The guy then breaks the club and delivers a powerful punch to the man's face, knocking him out. With a malicious smile and glowing eyes, the MC shows his true strength and power. The mercenaries are terrified by the stranger's display music of power and retreat in fear. Archers on the upper floor try to shoot him, but Burr dodges the arrows without any effort. He then throws a table at them with superhuman strength, defeating them in an instant. Outside, everyone is shocked and calls him a monster while Burrs gives them a beating. Outside, a mage comments that they are fighting again and wonders if they don't get tired. The guild floor is covered with defeated bodies. As Burrs approaches the fallen captain, he interrogates the man and asks where the human market is in exchange for his life. The scene changes to a luxurious and imposing mansion surrounded by trees and a skull gate. Burrs and his mercenary guide walk toward the entrance of the human market in disguise. The guide shows a cage full of men and asks if they are to the MC's liking. Burrs asks if there isn't something rarer and throws a bag of gold to the guide as payment. With a greedy smile, the guide takes him inside, saying he has exactly what he is looking for. The MC reflects that humans desire money and demons desire demonic energy, and there is no difference. They descend a stone staircase toward a more secret area of the market. The guide takes him to a special section where the rarest and most valuable people of the place are kept. Back at the tower, Burrs explains to Gordon that with human money, he can buy people. He plans to buy an elf known for his integrity to use as a spy against the heroes. The MC believes using an elf as a spy will create chaos among the heroes. In the kingdom of Hildren, the hero Hillen Cargill presents himself to the king and accepts the rescue mission. He swears he will rescue the princess and bring the Demon King's head in the name of justice. With a determined look full of fervor, the hero prepares for his dangerous journey. Burrs plans to use the elf as a spy to confuse the heroes and gain an advantage. He believes the elf's innocence will make his plan much more effective and unexpected. At the human market, the MC says he wants to buy an elf and that his guide will pay for him. Burrs asks if the guide objects and the man denies it with fear while receiving the payment. The MC asks to be alone with the elf to confirm something, but the guide gets worried. Burrs says it's fine and that if something happens, the guide will pay for the mistake, leaving him irritated. He approaches the cage where the elf is chained and observes the scene with a serious look. The guy regrets seeing a noble elf reduced to a slave and uses his magic to free him. Music. The elf feels the demonic energy and asks if he is a demon and what he wants with him. Burrs offers him a chance to get revenge on the humans who captured and humiliated him. The elf finds the offer tempting, but says he doesn't trust demons just as much as humans. The MC says he is different and promises his safety and freedom if he is loyal for 50 years. He explains that 50 years isn't much for an elf, and is better than being humiliated by humans. The elf accuses him of being a demon who wants to destroy the world tree they serve. He also says it is strange for a demon to ask an elf for help, and Burr admits he is right. With a cunning smile, the MC decides to make music, an irrefutable proposal to the elf. He swears by the Demon King's standards that he will keep his promise and won't touch music, the world tree. In exchange, he asks the elf to swear by the world tree that he will give him loyalty for 50 years. The elf calls him strange, but accepts the proposal if he goes that far to prove his word. He introduces himself as Granada of the Maple Tribe and says he will make the vow when he sees the Demon King. With a confident smile, Burrs reveals that he is the Demon King recruiting him. Granada is shocked and speechless hearing the unexpected revelation from the guy in front of him. He starts laughing and says, "Demon Kings get weaker away from their towers and wouldn't buy people." Granada laughs and says, if he really is a Demon King, he will give him loyalty for 100 years. Back at Burr's tower, Music Granada is taken to the 5th floor and is shocked by what he sees. Burrs reminds him of the 100 Regier contract, and the elf realizes he really is a Demon King. Granada screams that it is a scam and complains that the tower is empty and has nothing up to the 3rd floor. He continues complaining that there is nothing on the 1st floors and that the tower is a fraud. The elf despairs seeing that the 4th floor only has nature and no monster to protect them. Music. He screams that at this rate they won't last a year and that the heroes will destroy them easily. Burrs reminds him of the contract music and releases his demonic energy to show he isn't playing around. Granada feels the pressure of the demonic power and finally convinces himself that he is a Demon King. He remembers that no monster attacked them on the way because they didn't want to risk it with a Demon King. With this in mind, Granada kneels and swears loyalty to Burrs by the world tree for 100 years. He believes he will play an important role in the Demon King's evil plan and will have his revenge. But to his surprise, Burrs asks him to prepare a meal, leaving him completely confused. Granada is shocked and speechless at the Demon King's unexpected and trivial request. He who expects to be part of an important plan is now in the kitchen preparing food. Princess Ern appears and offers to help cook, leaving the elf even more confused. In the dining room on the 5th floor, Burrs and his companions sit down for a meal. Granada asks if the woman is the Princess of Hildren, and Burrs confirms it is Ernan Hilderin. The elf freaks out knowing he kidnapped the crown princess and screams that Music he is crazy. He despairs and asks how they are going to stop the heroes with an empty tower and no defenses. Burrs says that was why he bought him and orders him to sit and eat, leaving the elf confused. The MC praises the food and the princess says she helped Music, leaving Granada even more lost. On the 4th floor, Burrs says that if the heroes get there, it will already be game over for them. He reveals that Granada will disrupt the human world in his place, and the elf understands he will be a spy. The MC says he needs to test his skills and challenges him to a fight right there. Burrs offers to fight with one hand and no demonic energy and reduce the contract if he wins. Granada accepts the challenge and prepares to fight with everything to earn his freedom back. The elf advances with impressive speed and attacks the MC with a series of blows. He uses the mana from the environment to strengthen his attacks and surprises Burrs with his skill. The MC praises his moves and realizes he absorbed the mana from the 4th floor. Granada screams that he chose the wrong opponent and place and prepares a powerful attack. He uses his magic to trap Burrs with vines and leaves him vulnerable to a direct attack. The elf advances to deliver the final blow and screams that he will take his 50 years back with a sinister smile. Burrs says that should be enough to test his skills. He transforms into his demonic form and reminds Granada who his true opponent is. The MC says he won't use demonic energy, but will control his strength so as not to kill him. Granada is terrified by the transformation and Burrs' aura of power and tries to retreat. A large explosion happens in the tower, and the sound echoes through the surrounding snowy mountains. The scene changes to the mercenary headquarters in Horton Walk where life goes on normally. The mercenary guide who helped Burrs appears with eyes shining with gold and an expression of happiness. Burrs says he wants to hire the guide for a year, and the man accepts excitedly and asks for the budget. The MC throws a bag full of gold as a deposit, leaving all the mercenaries shocked. The mercenaries swear loyalty to their captain, and he thinks about getting a new squad. Burrs orders the captain to put a man on his team to transmit his orders, and he accepts. Granada appears with his face all bruised and introduces himself as the new team member. The mercenaries are shocked and afraid seeing the elf state after the fight with Burrs. They start crying in fear and regret for having challenged such a powerful man. The mercenaries unite in a group hug and accept Granada as their new companion. Burrs observes the scene and thinks that despite being mediocre, they are experienced and hard to find. He knows the only hero who would answer Hildren's call is Hillen Cargill, the demon slayer. The MC gives the mercenaries their first mission and orders them to investigate the hero Hill and Cargill with a serious and determined look. He orders them to investigate the hero hired by Hilderin. The mercenaries accept the mission with enthusiasm and prepare to leave immediately. Back at his tower, Burr thinks that now that he delegated the task to Granada, it is his turn to get stronger. He observes the monitoring screens and prepares to start his own training and strengthening. Demonic energy can be used to upgrade the tower or the Demon King himself. The only way for birds to get stronger is through the spirit flower, a mana crystal. In the Urgist Mountains, nature is untouched and spirit flowers absorb mana naturally. With that, their energy becomes even more refined and powerful, a true treasure. Burrs tells Gordon he is going to look for some spirit flowers to increase his power. Gordon warns it is risky to go without preparation, and that the monsters will attack him at the first opportunity. Burrs says he can handle the monsters, but finding the flowers will be difficult without a mana detector. Suddenly, they hear knocking on the door and wonder who it could be. At that moment, Princess Ern appears with a slime on her head and asks if they are busy. The two are surprised by the princess's sudden appearance and don't know how to react. The scene changes to Burrs and Ernan leaving the tower with the princess's spirits floating around. Ernan says she is excited and reminds Burrs of his promise to let her decorate the 4th floor. The MC agrees as long as she finds the spirit flowers and wonders how far she will go. The princess is happy and thinks she didn't expect to be able to leave the tower and that it was good to have checked. She pets one of her fire spirits with a gentle smile and prepares for the journey. Burrs picks her up and tells her to hold on tight while opening his demon wings. He then flies at high speed into the sky, leaving the princess startled and unprepared. The young woman closes her eyes tightly because of the speed and the sunlight blinding her. She opens her eyes slowly and is amazed by the view of the world from above for the first time. Ern realizes she didn't notice the vastness of the world on the day she was kidnapped because of the darkness. She remembers her monotonous life of training and study and thought it would be like that until she died. The princess says she is probably the only person who has ever flown over the Urgist Mountains. Burrs calls her princess and asks what she has to do, but she interrupts him and asks him to call her Ernan. He scolds her for forgetting her place and threatens to send her to the underground prison. Ern apologizes and Burr orders her to use her spirits to find the spirit flowers. The princess's spirits say goodbye and wish them a safe return from the journey. Burrs thinks they probably won't find the flowers quickly, but will be faster than him. Suddenly, Ernan shouts that she found one and points to a glowing flower in the middle of the snow. A beautiful ice spirit flower shines with a bluish and pure light in the middle of the landscape. They realize a group of ogres was already at the location and stares at them with hostility. Burrs calls them demon descendants and orders them to obey and leave the place in peace. The ogres refuse to obey and say they don't like him and that he will die there. The MC laughs and realizes Gordon was right about the monster's wild nature. He transforms into his demonic form and says he will simply burn them all to ashes. The ogres advance to attack and scream to protect what is theirs and to kill and eat the intruder. Burrs concentrates his demonic energy and prepares to unleash a devastating attack against them. The